Eden Koz here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. And as we begin the show, just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a soul realignment specialist, meditation master, and dimensional healer. Learn more, and there's merch also at EdenJustBe.com. Let's get this party started. Eden, Just Be, Spiritual Boom in association with the powerful, amazing, beautiful Grassroots Warrior Network, which I'm a co-anchor, and you can check out that channel on Rumble separately from my own channels because there are so many great people on there who are just spilling out divine truths, and it's wonderful. Hey, Laura in Arizona, how are you?
Hello, hello. Oh, fantastic, fabulous. Thank you.
Good, good. And quick note of how, I put in my notes, and you never know where this conversation is going to go. Yet I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about programming no shoes, letting go of material things. And Laura knows I'm going to say this. She loves to use tasty words. And since my show is also broadcast on a public radio station, just y'all fill in the blanks. So there you go. Love that. And Laura and I met when I did a couple of podcasts for a humanities team. So she and I did a show together. So we got to meet there. And now she's coming on my show, which is so great. And the co-founder of humanities team, Steve Farrell, was on the show, which started all this. So if you want to check him out, that's episode 135. Okay, one quick note before I tell you more about Laura Foster. Okay, I understand that humanity for the month of June, and this will be broadcast the second week of July, and I'm not thinking that this is going to end right in June, but collectively, humanity has, in our DNA, there's this program of chaos and fear, and there's a whole bunch going on in the world right now, so I just encourage everybody that there's this tenseness that is programmed in us. So to move into everything without fear, as I always say, be of it, yet not in it. And in doing that also, it's not ignoring what's going on because this is a human ascension. So to be there, to be present, and to be calm. So good. Okay, Laura's nodding her head. Let's get to you. I'm going to read your bio exactly how you sent it. I am you. I'm the part of you that's fed up with the endless cycle of programming and conditioning that's held you back for so long. Like you, I, Laura, reached a point where I was done with feeling stuck and effed up. So I use a holistic scaffolding to trademarked holistic scaffolding to clear my life and live on my own terms. I'm a barefoot triathlete, a disruptor, an author, and a peaceful badass committed to sharing my wisdom in a non-sleazy, I love that word, unconventional way. My mission, to share the holistic scaffolding technology with those who are ready to shed their layers of programming and live in alignment with their true self. Amen. Within that, no marketing, no email capture, and none of those icky sales tactics ever. And we'll talk about that as well and how you came to that. I don't know if it's a realization or understanding or practice. All right. First, Laura, I want to ask you, when did you start seeing the programming and the matrix? Because I also want to go into your past with weight and diabetes. So however that works for you, please share.
There were several moments of change, as I call them. So there wasn't just one moment. Now I know it can happen for some people. They have this one moment, but there were several for me. And one was I was really suffering from major depression and I was suicidal. So, just like a lot of people, I followed the Western medicine. Nothing wrong with Western medicine, but, psychiatrists and antidepressants and that kind of stuff. So I first started seeing that. That
Okay,
was
how
one of
old
my
were
moments.
you in this time? Give us a time frame.
That was probably in my late 30s. Yeah,
Okay.
mid to late 30s.
Okay, and the folks
Yeah.
that are listening and can't see you, can you give how old are
Oh
you
yeah,
now?
I'm 50, I'm 56.
Okay.
So,
Oh yeah,
yes.
we're the same
Yes.
age. Right. Okay, so in your 30s, how long had it been building up to this really tough moment?
Probably my entire lifetime because Eden, I was living exactly as I had been programmed. It was all a facade. I mean, I went after, the degrees and the husband and the kid and the house and the job. And it was just as I had been programmed, but I always say like social media is a great mortician. It was a facade. It looked great on Facebook or whatever, but peeling back, I was a hot mess. Like I said, I was suicidal. I hated my life. I hated myself. And I know that's not uncommon with what people are
Yeah.
going through right now,
Yeah.
especially with social media. It's even more so than it was when I was going through a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you okay with Western medicine as well? You were you on a whole bunch of medications?
I was, because
Okay.
again, I was living as I had been programmed. Everyone in my family had type 2 diabetes. So guess what? By the time I was in my mid 30s, I had type 2 diabetes. I was on a couple different medications for that. I was over 260 pounds. I had high cholesterol. I slept with the CPAP machine. It was all exactly as I had been programmed. I mean, I was living the same lifestyle as my family and following that same path. So the next big moment of change was watching my parents die at a young age. My mom died at 72, my dad died at 75 in 2012. And it was the most wonderful gift they ever gave me, Eden. And I know that sounds like wackadoodle,
No,
but it was.
not on this show. It doesn't. Go ahead.
But it was. It was
Yeah.
the greatest gift they ever gave me because I looked at them and I said, I'm not effing going out like that. I drew my line in the sand and I started to surrender, like, to the multiverse. And it started sending me things like Bruce Lipton's knowledge of epigenetics. And it's like, oh, and I can reverse all these things, which I did. I mean, I've been med free for now over 10 years. And again, I always hesitate to share my story because beautiful people out there, this is not about me. This is not hooray for Laura. Oh, good for her. We've all
I'll
had
say that.
enough
Hooray
of
for you.
that. Well, thank you, but that's not
But I
what
get
this is
it.
about.
Yeah.
There's so many folks out there that are just hurrah, hurrah, and they're trying to build their
Yeah.
personal brand and sell stuff. That's not me. I am you. I mean that. And if I can help people by sharing my story, and that's why I share it kind of reluctantly still, that's why I do it because I didn't do anything special that they can't do.
All right. So, how did you, in terms of getting off the medications, so after watching your parents pass away, was that the immediate, okay, I've got to change things. So what
Mhm.
exactly did you do? Would you start losing the weight specifically, went off the
I
medications cold turkey? What did Laura
no,
do?
Laura actually stopped eating SAD, the standard American diet, exactly as I had been programmed.
Yeah.
And I became a vegetarian. I'm now a vegan. There's no judgment in any of that. It works for me. It works for this human.
Right.
So, and then I ramped up my exercise because people, believe it or not, even at 260 pounds, I was still walking 6 days a week. I was still I still did yoga and all that. But I decided to ramp it up. I decided
Wow.
to become a triathlete. I was like, why not?
Okay, so you already were doing exercising and doing these things.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa. Okay, so at that time you decide, okay, I'm just going to so triathlete again is, I know it's biking, swimming, and running.
Mhm.
Tell us, so you had that in your mindset, and how many miles for each of those?
Well, I've done the half Ironman distance 5 times.
Okay, tell
So
us what that is.
it's a mile and a quarter open water swim. it's 56 miles on your bike, and then
Jeez.
it's running a half marathon, 13.1 miles.
Woo.
And I'm slow, it takes me like about 8 hours, but it's nonstop. And yeah,
What is the typical? What is the average?
yeah, I think there are people that can finish it in under 5 hours, and there are people that are probably a little slower than I am, but that's okay. I
Well,
mean,
the fact that you finish it, that you do it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so when you decided I'm going to do that, how did you start training? Okay, so you started eating differently.
yes.
Was
And then
that
I
was that
just
easy to do or did that take you a while?
No, it was pretty easy as because my body responded and the weight started to drop. And then within a year, I had lost like 100 pounds and I was off of all the medication.
Wow.
So, like I said, I've been med free for over a decade now, completely med free.
Okay, and was going off the medication kind of a gradual thing for you? Like this one, I don't know how many you were on.
Some of the things, yeah, some of the things they were gradual.
Okay.
But I just got to feeling better and moving more and being in alignment with my true self. And yeah.
So, what about your training, especially being, I can't imagine you being that way because looking at Laura now, for those who can't see her, very slim. Um, did you start running slowly? Did you start with swimming?
No, I started running and I was running in shoes at the time.
Okay.
So there's an interesting story, but I could run no more than, I want to say maybe 50 feet, 50 yards. I don't know. It was like a
Yeah.
half a block and I was like, so
Sure.
I couldn't do it. So it was just a gradual building of the endurance and the strength. And, it took a while. So yeah.
Okay. How long did it take you to feel like you finally had, I don't know, finally, like you did it and you felt good versus, oh, I'm struggling out of breath. Or you did it. And what was the first time that you did it and you were like, yeah, wow.
I don't really remember like the first time, but I
Yeah.
remember there was just this general shift of I just feel great in this body.
Oh,
Even as I was shedding, this big, for lack of a better term, my fat suit
yeah.
that kept me kind of invisible,
Yeah.
and just and shedding that and just feeling good and honoring my body of like, wow, this thing's pretty amazing.
And was this the first time that you actually liked your body? Or were there times when you were younger that
Yeah.
you were like, okay,
Yeah,
this is
no.
fine?
No, I was always there was always a lot of negativity. Yeah, growing up because obesity ran in my family too. So
Mm,
I had a whole history of being on a lot of diets, with my mom. She didn't know any better. She
right.
was doing the best she could for me, but there was a lot of programming and generational trauma around that. So
When you did your first triathlon, what was that like?
that was incredible. Coming across that finish line, and it was the sprint distance, so it wasn't like the Ironman distance.
Yeah.
Um, but just yeah, just incredible. It's like, wow, I can do this. And not only can I do this, the work I'm doing is ultimately going to help other people. It's not magic. There's no secret diet or secret pill or none of that. And it's helped evolve into what I'm doing now. My big message of people being their own guru, doing their own work. You don't need an expensive therapist or a guru or the next, IG superstar to tell you what to do. You know best your true self. Yeah.
Cool. All right. And I want to, I don't know if this is a good time to go into shoes because I knew, and when we did our first podcast, that you were a barefoot triathlete. And then I soon discovered that you don't wear shoes at all.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Can
No.
take just a moment? Because the one thing we were talking about was I like, Laura, even at the airport, you go through and you're just, so yeah. When did you decide to completely go shoeless? What has that been like? Because you also travel a bunch, and we're going to talk about that soon too. But I do want to take a parallel into this and then go back into other, other aspects that woke you up spiritually. All right. Tell us about feet.
I always say that becoming barefoot was one of the greatest gifts of my life. And I always ask people, when I work with them, it's like, what is your shoe? So metaphorically thinking like, what is that mask and that role that you play constantly
Yeah.
that's uncomfortable, you don't like? When I first started going barefoot, and I was married at the time, and there's a lot of love and respect for my ex-husband. There's no blame game going on here. It's something really different about soul healing humanity. But it came into my awareness that there was a lot of control and a lot of judgment when I kicked off my shoes. Things like, you can't go such and such place with me because you're barefoot. You're an embarrassment. And I'm telling that just to put a frame around it, but it helped me wake up to, wow, I'm like living in this place of somebody really trying to control me. And I was like, no, I'm not going to effing have that. No, no, no.
Hmm.
I don't have to wear shoes. And this is so I didn't. And I don't own regular footwear. So yeah, and in a nutshell, when I have conversations about it, people they're like, "Well, what about the no shirt, no shoes, no service signs?" And just as a brief little education, you can look this up. It's very true. They became very, very popular around the civil rights era to keep people of color out of Southern establishments. There is absolutely no law in the United States and for much of the other countries in the world against a person being barefoot in an establishment. Nothing.
So have you ever had someone come up to you in an establishment and go, "Hey,
Oh
you need to
yeah.
put," you have. So
Yeah.
do
Oh
you
yeah.
respond to that?
I just feel into the energy, and if I can have a good conversation with them and try to, kind of educate them and let them know, I will. Occasionally there's just times that I call them shiny shoe people. I know it's not very nice, but they're just, I mean, it happened a few weeks ago. I got approached by a shiny shoe like in Walmart, which incidentally has no barefoot policy at all. And it's like, you can't be in here barefoot and you gotta leave. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna waste my breath with this person. I'm gonna love on them unconditionally. And I just decided to leave that store. So like,
That's
it's okay.
that's got to be so interesting to see again the programming about what we shouldn't do, and the barefoot really isn't a big deal. And of course, we know all about grounding and putting your feet to the earth and all the good stuff. But it's and especially where you are right now, it's warmer too. So
Yeah.
it's wow. To see, I bet you've seen people get really angry. Well, like he sounded
Oh
like he was
yeah.
pretty angry.
Yeah, he was. And that's okay. It's part of my learning process through the
Mhm.
holistic scaffolding. And also there's a platform on there about accepting all of you. And it triggers my little Laura inside that I don't really accept. Like she gets scared and she thinks she's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So it's in a way it's a beautiful gift that there's still people that, you know, get angry or upset with me being barefoot. It's okay.
Well, I had that situation when mask and I wasn't going to wear a mask and people coming up to you going, "You should be doing this, you should be doing that." And again, that good girl, because I used to be a very good girl, before I became a disruptor and a spiritual warrior as well. That having the COVID helped me become so strong. So
Mm-hmm.
even though it was supposed to make you become weak, that was the
Yeah.
plan. It did the exact opposite for me. They were using my voice in ways that I never would have used them before. It was delightful. And I see the shoe thing. I'm really going to have to contemplate this more. See that being the same way.
Mhm.
And we
Yeah.
talked about the bottom of your feet. I think you described them to me as puppy paws. What are they
Yes.
like?
Yeah. There, if you have a pet, a dog, a cat, my feet are thick but soft. So they're not all calloused up. People think, it's like, what causes like calluses and athlete's foot and stuff is sticking your foot in a foot coffin, otherwise known as a shoe. So I mean, yeah.
That coffin. Now, did it take you a little bit of time to get used to it? Because there are different
Yes.
pavements and
Yes.
different. Okay, so that did.
Yes. So especially with running. So it was
Yeah.
definitely a gradual. I mean, you don't just kick off your shoes and go out and run 5 miles.
Okay.
It's a gradual process. So,
Can you even imagine wearing shoes now?
mm-mm. No, I can't. I actually put on boots when I was in Antarctica in March. So it was
Yeah.
very strange for my foot. My feet were like, who turned the lights out? What? What's
And
happened?
that because it was so cold. I mean,
Yeah,
just
it
yeah,
was
and
just, I mean, I
okay.
know there are people that barefoot in the snow, but I'm not
Yeah, like Limbaugh.
conditioned to that.
Right.
Well, yeah.
So interesting. All right, can you go back to in terms of programming and waking up that was your the one big experience losing the weight, being trapped in this family cycle of being overweight and the diabetes. What else happened to you?
Well, it was also the kicking off my shoes and
Okay,
in
it's perfect.
2019, after being married for 32 years, I decided to, consciously uncouple and come out of this relationship. Um, but with as much grace as I possibly could and in dealing with, because I'm going to be honest, even as I was been programmed, I was a drama queen, man. It was always somebody else's fault. Seriously, it was. It was. So working through that of like, okay, there's nothing he ever did that was wrong. Now, people that kind of knew the relationship, yeah, I mean, you could have labeled it as emotional abuse and all that. And I'm like, do I want to really carry that the rest of my life? No. Do I want to live in victimhood? No. I used to have like a special crown. I was the queen of victimhood. I mean, it was like, I
Right.
don't want to live like that anymore. So the holistic scaffolding helped me free myself from all of that programming, the blame game and being a victim. And yeah, and that is talk about freedom. Yeah, that's where it's at.
Right. And that's moving from this 3D world into 5D, letting go of the victimhood, competition, all of that. And you are a testament to doing that and how, and I would put myself in that category too, and how freeing, I can't even think of another word besides freeing, just how whole you start to feel and complete when also no one else defines you, tells you who you are, what to do. When you first started taking off your shoes with your former husband, how how did that really like at first he's like I'm not going to go out with you and when you kept doing it, did he finally relinquish?
He finally did, but it was just with a lot of eye
I
rolling and
roll.
just a lot of bitterness on his side. And that's okay. And then it was a couple of years after that that I finally just decided this is over. We really need to go our separate ways.
Okay, when you told him that, was he surprised or was he just like, yeah, because that's a long time of being married as well.
Yeah, he was very surprised
Okay.
and very, very upset, because again, I'm bringing back the facade of
Mhm. Everything was fine.
The Laura and John, so there were people that were totally shocked that didn't really know or see our relationship, there, I mean,
Yeah.
it was an institution, the Laura and John,
Mhm.
community people and da da da, it's like, fuck it. Oh, I'm sorry. That comes out so naturally. F it. Sorry, I guess it's too late to fix it now. I didn't want to live like that anymore. Sorry, people.
That's okay. We're
That
yeah.
is my favorite word, so you can
I
bleep it
could
out, I
edit that
hope.
one out, but I think just one in the show and to
Okay.
see your reaction when you did that, if folks that are watching, it's so fun. So yeah, the institution of marriage, the Laura and John show. Did you were there friends that also like took like when I went through it, it was also amazing. There were so many things I didn't expect out of it and people taking sides and some of the backlash and so that was one thing that really made me strong as well. Did you have that also like friends going, well, I'm just going to be friends with John right now or Laura's
Yeah.
crazy or
Yeah. Oh yeah. That happened quite a bit. And I just like you, Eden, I became strong and it's like I'm gonna love on you people no matter what. But
mm,
I'm going to continue to do my work and, go on my own path. And like I said, there is nothing but unconditional love for my ex-husband and his new wife. I mean, it's real. It's like I'm at peace with everything that happened. And gosh, isn't that a beautiful place to
That
be? That's
is.
freedom. Not where you're like every time you bring up your ex, if you're still doing that, that person's still in your relationship. You're still in a relationship with them. And there's no room to draw in that new relationship.
And I'll add to that, I don't call my my ex-husband, I don't say ex because ex is like Xing it out to
Yeah,
me. So I call him my former because the relationship was so important for my
yeah.
growth. And yeah, so yeah,
I love
I
that.
can't do that.
I think I'm going to steal that from
I
you because
thought you might
I've always struggled with that because I don't like that, you know.
X, right?
Thank
Because
you.
I'm not Xing it out. It was very
No.
important.
Hmm.
Um, I, I got a lot of things to add, but I want to know quickly your feelings about AI.
I have no fear. I have no fear of AI. It is exactly what it's supposed to be. I don't know what it really is. I think it's further along than we expect it is. That's
Mhm.
my gut feeling. I
Yep, I
think
would agree.
things are being much more controlled. I think we've already crossed over the singularity, although there's really no evidence for me to even say that. I get that. This is just my gut feeling, but I don't fear it. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, maybe we are actually AI. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. So I'm at peace with it. Yes. Do I use technology that's AI? Yes. But does it actually create the content that I share? No, because it's not human. So what can it possibly know about my human experience to share with people? So that's kind of where I fall. So
Yeah, I read something lately about, oh, I'm going to forget exactly what they said. I'm going to try and have them on my show because it was beautiful. That as long as it doesn't become the master of you, it doesn't take over you, you don't, but you're always still in it, like kind of like you're describing as well. I want to talk about your traveling, yet before we even go and letting go of so much material things. I feel it's so important and good for people to hear. Well, maybe go to that, and then I also will finish up, I guess, talking about holistic scaffolding, how that came to you, why no marketing. All right, so can we go into the traveling first?
absolutely. I started just trusting the multiverse as I used the holistic scaffolding to shed my programming. Coming into alignment with my true self, I started trusting the multiverse about where I needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to serve. So I trusted, like, where should I go? And it has sent me just places. And I sometimes I realize why I'm there and sometimes I don't, and I'm at peace with that. So yeah,
Okay, so
but
what kind
that's
of places?
while my dog was still alive, I stayed stateside. So I've been like to Boise, Salt Lake City, um, those places where there was a heavy Mormon population. Yeah, and I did work there to help some people along the way free themselves from religious programming.
Mhm.
And then I spent about 11 months in South America and ended up in Antarctica. And yeah, so just trusting that process of like where am I needed? Where am I supposed to go? And I don't question that. I know that sounds really strange.
No, it does not. Uh, what and then you let go of like so many material
Oh,
possessions, so you can
absolutely.
just pick up and yeah to expand.
Yes. Yeah, my partner David and I, we decided to get rid of most of our belongings. We don't own a house. We don't own a car. We have a few like bins that my daughter she offered to like put them in her garage. So there's maybe a dozen like bins of things that we
Mhm.
had when we came back stateside. But letting go of all that, I mean, even the like keepsake and photos, I mean, I threw all this stuff in the trash. I'm like, do I
Mhm.
really need this? No,
Yeah,
I mean, not out of anger. It's just like, yeah, I
it's the
took some
past.
snapshots of it's the past. It's like I think Alan Watts said that it's not the wake that's driving your human. It's not the past. And when you really step into that and realize that, it's like, what do you really need? I mean, past your basic necessities, do you need all that stuff? And we came to the conclusion, no, it weighs us down. Then you have to insure it and you have to store it and you have to maintain it. And
Hmm.
it's expensive.
Hmm. And I know you talked about that too, that the expense of that, now you can put it towards traveling.
Yes, when I started to crunch those numbers and you realize the true cost of owning a house and
Yeah.
insuring it, and there's always something, the air conditioner's broken or the dishwasher, it's constant.
Hmm. And I would say that's part of the programming too, that when you own your own house, there's suddenly going to be all this freedom, but there's all, yeah. Yeah, I get you there, sister. And even when you own it, you have taxes and still
Yes.
paying all these bills with these things that should be free in a sense. So we will
Hmm.
be getting towards that. When you did your first letting go of photos and put them in the trash, was there just a moment of just, holding on to them and then letting go? Or you were just
Yeah,
like,
no,
yes,
because
go.
no, I had done the work behind all that. So it
Okay.
wasn't just like I said, it wasn't out of anger or bitterness it was really peace.
Hmm.
Would my family want me to hang on to this and not be well?
Yeah.
Or, and I did lose my mom, dad, and my only sibling, my brother. He died
Mm.
at 56, by the way. Um, you
Oh,
know, would they want me to hold on to all that stuff and be unwell? Or would they want me to free myself and to live my best life? Yeah, and it's the easy answer. They're right here. They're with me. I know that.
mhm.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Holistic scaffolding, because I know that's kind of not kind of, that is not only who you are, but how you live. How did that come to you?
It's a rather long story. I will make it as brief as I can.
Okay.
But it's been approximately, I want to say 15 to 17 years ago. I was in Florence, Italy, staring at the statue of David. I was very unwell. I was there with John, my former husband, and my daughter. I was very, very unwell, very depressed. And I stood in front of that statue and I completely became unglued. I mean, I had to leave. I was just sobbing, but it was something happening and it was coming. The holistic scaffolding was coming to me in bits and pieces. And that is what holistic scaffolding is the framework. If you know anything about the sculpture David and Michelangelo, he said David was inside the sculpture. He just had to take away the material. And the holistic scaffolding is the framework that helps people shed that programming. The programming is your granite. We've all had it. Don't feel bad about it, but you're encased in it. Underneath that is your true self. And as I understand it, is your soul, your spirit, your wise ass MFer, your gut feeling. It knows what's best for you. And that's my passion of it's not a guru that knows best for you. We're moving past that guru mentality that you need a high expensive therapist or a guru or a retreat where you put crystals on your boobs and you sit till you're not your bum is numb. People have had enough of
Let's
that.
all do that right now. I think that'll be really fun to put crystals on our chest. Love it.
I mean,
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with it, but there's people that have had enough of it, and
Yeah.
and they go like, well, that didn't work, and that cost me a lot of money.
Right. I totally understand you. So yeah, I
So,
consider myself a facilitator. So same as you, I'm here to help you, but you got to do the work.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's the beauty of the holistic scaffolding framework
Hmm.
that it gives them that framework so they can do the work on their own.
And how, when you were sitting in front of the statue of David, did it from that point continue to download into you? How did
Yeah,
it proceed from there?
bits and pieces over the years. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it wasn't like an immediate download. It was just bits and pieces as I was shedding my own stuff. And the first platform is awareness. And I always say you cannot change what you do not see.
I know. Oh my God. And then I do want to move into the Just Be practice, I think, after this. It is so neat because I don't really do any marketing either. And it's funny because my career before this was advertising. I was a creative in advertising. So everything was about friggin' marketing. So to come from that world, which was nice because I could do all my own stuff, do my own logo, that sort of thing. But to be at a point where I don't do that, I don't feel inclined to do that. How did that happen for you? Because you used to market a good bit,
I did.
correct?
Yes. And I founded Soul Healing Humanity almost 3 years ago
Okay,
and
thank you.
fell into the programming of, you want to reach more people, you really need to market. You need to have a lead magnet. You need to have this course and these ebooks and get people on an email list. Eden, I had an email list over 3,000 people. And in alignment with my true self, using the holistic scaffolding, last year I decided to close Soul Healing Humanity as a business. Yeah, I notified my people, hey, I'm not going to be emailing you anymore because I'm not going to have an email list. Everything is for free. There's no, not only is there no marketing, I don't even want people to email. I don't collect them. So everything that's there is for free. I don't want any kind of money to be a barrier for people to do their own work. So everything I talk about is free at soulhealinghumanity.com.
Wow. All right. So how does abundance come into your life?
I do have people occasionally that will work with me individually, but I also, like I said, I freed myself from having a house, a car, insurance, all that stuff. So it freed up some of those funds and I don't market. So I was spending quite a bit of money every month to try to grow my community. And now I'm just at peace with it. I'm like, I'm okay with it.
Okay, so it sounds like you don't need much. You get what you need
Yeah.
and it's all good.
Mhm.
What are you going to do for the practice today? And within that, is there anything else you want to say?
No, just that I have just recently uploaded a course on generational trauma. It's free on
Gosh,
YouTube.
good.
So if you like go to soulhealinghumanity.com or Soul Healing Humanity on YouTube, it's a free generational trauma course. So it's been
Awesome.
my latest call.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And I will put
Yeah.
your link to your website at the end as well. All right. What you got for us today, Miss
Oh,
Barefoot Woman?
oh my gosh, I want to
Just
share
be
my
practice.
daily sacred morning routine. And this is going to help our listeners out there. If you're not sure where to start and you're not sure, like, oh gosh, how out of alignment am I between my program self and my true self? Answering just these three questions will really help you.
Okay.
So the three questions are, who am I? How am I? And why am I? So if
Okay.
you're a journaler like I am, so you may want to write down, who am I
Okay.
and what just comes up? Is it just your name and the roles that you play every day? I'm a mom, I'm a this, I'm a title, I have all these letters behind my name. Nothing wrong with that. Then how am I? You ask all the time. Everybody, how are you? How are you? How are you? How do you, how am I? And if you're answering with a lot of suffering and a lot of misery and a lot of drama and a lot of generational trauma, that's telling you something. And then why am I? If you're answering, well, I'm here to be so and so's mom. I'm here to make money. I'm here to fulfill this role and be this executive and climb this ladder. And I'm not saying any of that's wrong. But if you're answering like I said, most likely you're living as your programmed self. It's not in alignment with who your true self really is. And as a spoiler alert, yeah, when you use the holistic scaffolding, you're going to find who your true self is. But if you haven't had time to investigate that, your true self is what sets you on fire.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just this human suit. You're not these masks. How are you? You should be on fire most days. Why are you? You should feel like, wow, I'm making a difference. I'm doing the work and I'm alive. That's your true self, what really sets you on fire. And that's my mission, is to help people free themselves. If you do it with holistic scaffolding, great. But if you don't, I'm going to love on you no matter what. And I wish you well to find something to help you find your true self and live a life designed for you, by you.
I believe we are reaching that point where so much of humanity, again, this big split that will potentially happen, that a huge portion of humanity is going to be doing that on a daily basis. Laura, can you imagine? Because I don't know about you, but in the work that I do, meeting many people who are depressed or upset and really
Mhm.
working that, imagining being around a whole bunch of people all the time that are happy and passionate and just in life. What is that going to be like?
It's going to be absolutely, it's going to just be mind blowing. And there are lights like you, Eden.
Oh,
You are one
thanks.
of those lights, and just spending time with you. That's what it feels like when you make that soul to soul connection. I mean, not that we have it all figured out, we don't, but
Right.
it's like that's what it's about. And it's about that inner peace. World peace is never going to come. You cannot legislate love, you cannot legislate peace. Inner peace. And then that ripples out. You live by example.
Yeah,
And
because
that's where we're going.
yeah, because
Yeah.
everything that's in here is mirrored for you out there. And
Mhm.
that's one thing everybody knows I love about the show is, there are a lot of people, and I'm finding more and more locally, that are on fire. Yet I have the pleasure of making these connections with others who are in it, who are doing the work. And it also makes you feel like, oh, I'm not just sitting here by myself. There's Laura and there's
Mhm.
this and there's that.
Yeah.
And then imagining like if we all came together, and that's what the world is going to be like. That I don't have to
Yes.
talk to you in Arizona, that the person down the street, the person, my neighbor, it is. And I can't, I'm feeling so good right now. I mean, there's still some challenges, but even the
Mhm.
challenges are a lot less than they used to be. But feeling so good. And then imagining that I'm with a whole bunch of people that feel really good too. And that we just increase each other's vibration.
Yeah.
Okay, I think on that note, I'm just going to sit here when we're done and just sit in that for a moment. Hey, Laura, so good to see you
Oh,
again. I know we
amazing.
will continue to be connected, and
Yeah.
y'all, listeners and watchers, keep staying tuned. I just, again, the people that come on the show, I really loved hearing about Laura being barefoot. I mean, who else do you guys know that does that all the time? I don't. So keep it up, girl. Keep being the diva.
Thank you.
Love it. All right, signing off. Say goodbye.
Much love. Thank you.
Y'all, find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, True Social, as well as Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, plus a plethora of other audio directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So like, subscribe, do it all. See ya.